Hey guys, just want to check in to make sure that you guys can see me. Can you guys please give me a hello or a yes if you can hear me, if you can see me? I just want to make sure that it's working properly. So I'm just going to wait to see if you guys can see me. Just let me know. I think it might be working. I hope you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. Yes, Charlene says yes. Yes, we can see you and hear you clearly. Awesome. All right. Well, hello there. Hi, ambitious professionals, and hi, YouTubers. I'm super excited to be here with you guys. So, today, what I really wanted to do is to dive into talking about some better ways that you can be writing your resume. And this is something that a lot of people are struggling with, especially when you're in one of two situations. Awesome. You guys can see me. Cool. So, one thing I want to ask you guys is this. Okay, you're likely in this situation where if you're struggling with your resume, if you're struggling with writing your resume, it could be because you're in one of two situations. So, the first is Group A. So let's call you Group A. Okay, just to label you. You're working in a job that you no longer enjoy because you want to do something else. And so you're trying to get into this other type of position, this other industry, this other field, but because you feel that you have limited experience in that particular job, you don't really know how to write a resume that's going to entice the employers to bring you in for an interview. Tell me if this is you. Tell me if it's you, say A or Group A. I'm curious to know if that's you. Okay, so that's Group A, that you're in a job that you don't really enjoy. You're wanting to switch out of it. You want to get into a new industry, and you're just not knowing how to write your resume because there might be some relevance from what you're doing to what you want to do, but it's just not working. Like whatever you're trying to do in terms of writing your resume just doesn't seem to tie into the job that you're wanting. A, definitely Group A, Jenny Boo, Brown Beauty. It's funny because we're not on Facebook, so I don't actually see your names. I just see your YouTube your YouTube nicknames. That's exactly my current situation, says Trisha. Hector says A. Trisha says Group A. Ponka, okay, says me. Awesome. There's lots of you. Okay, so that's Group A. There's also Group B, and there's also a Group C too. So I shouldn't have said two situations. There's actually three. But the second situation, tell me if this is you. You might be someone who's had a big gap in your resume. So you might have been a stay at home mom for several years and now you're wanting to get back into the job market. Or let's say that you just decided that you just want to take a bit of a break in your career. And so because of that, you've had a break, you've had a gap in your resume. So you're Group B. Okay, tell me if you're Group B. And so, because you've had these gaps, all of a sudden you're wondering, well, what do I put on my resume? How do I write my resume then? Is anyone going to want to hire me? Tell me if that's you, Group B. So, you've had some gaps for various reasons. It could also be that you've jumped around a bit, like you went from job to job and you've had some gaps in between those jobs. So, tell me if that is you. Howdy from Austin, Texas. I'm an entry level skilled job seeker. How important is progression on a resume? We'll talk about all that stuff. B, Group A, most definitely. Okay, so just to recap for some newbies here, A is for anyone who's in a job that they no longer enjoy and wants to go into a totally different position but doesn't know how to write that on their resume. B is for someone who's had some gaps. 7-year gap, says Race B. Awesome. Christina says B. Okay, and then Group three. Group C are those of you who just simply, you have pretty consistent work experience, but your resume is just not getting you interviews. No matter what you do, you're sending in your resume, maybe hundreds of applications already, and you still haven't gotten. Maybe you've gotten a couple of interviews, or you've gotten to the first round interview, but it just never seems to get past that. Tell me if you are Group C. Okay, so I'd like to kind of get a feel for all of you guys. Group B came from Venezuela and now I'm in the USA. Definitely I fall in B. Christopher says A. Awesome. Tell me if you're Group C. If you just want a better resume. You just want to know, what do I do so that employers can see that I actually have great experience for this position. Tell me if you're a group C. Agbula says C. Charlene says C. Rachel says, I would say closer to group C, college student with decent work experience. Great. Okay. Okay, good. Lots of group C's. I'm excited. All right. So what I really want to address right away is that I think that no matter whether you're in group A, group B, group C, is I think a lot of people feel that because they're in one of these situations that they feel stuck, and that the automatic assumption, especially for those of you who are in group A and B, is that you might just, maybe I should just go back to school. Maybe I need to do another program or take another 2 to 3 years in order to switch fields and go into another line of work. Now, I'm not saying that that's not true. I mean, definitely, if you want to go into another position and it's completely outside of what you've been doing, then maybe going back to school makes sense for that, because if it's a more technical position, then you'd have to learn the skills about how to do that job. But truthfully, if you're just trying to switch, the field is kind of similar, it's just the role itself is different, then I wouldn't be too concerned about that. I wouldn't be too concerned about having to go back to school to get a whole other set of qualifications just to match that type of job. It's not really that. It's actually how you're portraying yourself in the resume. And so what you have to understand is what I'm going to talk about today in terms of the resume tips that I have to share with you is that no matter what situation you're in, group A, group B, group C, you can use this process for yourself and be able to develop a top-notch resume. Okay? Now, the truth is, I'm not going to have time in this, 30-40 minute mini training session to teach you exactly from start to finish how to write a completely new resume. I mean, you know that that's just unrealistic. But what I can do is try to give you the best tips that I have possible. And so what I want to do right now actually is to make a little bit of an announcement before I get into the full training. And it's something that I actually really want to share with you guys in terms of news. So all this stuff that I'm going to be covering today is going to be taught and thoroughly explained to you in detail in my upcoming Top Resume course. Okay, so I'm in December 2017, I'm going to be launching my Top Resume course, and essentially it's my step-by-step strategy, step-by-step system on how to create a resume that stands out and actually gets you the job. So this is actually the approach that I've taught my clients privately, one-on-one, and I've only actually taught it to them. I've never really shared this stuff with you guys in this level of detail, but I will be doing that in this course. And just like I mentioned, it's not possible for me in this 30 minutes to share everything with you, but I'm going to give you some tips so that at least you can get started. But I've had clients who weren't getting interviews for over a year before using this approach to writing their resume. And then after we revamped their resume completely using my approach, they were getting 4 or 5 interview calls within weeks of implementing that new resume, sending out that new resume. So I just wanted to share this with you that you're going to be able to learn how to thoroughly write your resume from start to finish in this course that I have, Top Notch Resume, and it's coming out in December. So just keep an eye out for that. So that's really what I wanted to announce, and I'm going to talk more about it as we go through as well. But one thing that you guys have to realize is that if you're not, so let me ask you this. Who here is having trouble getting interview calls? Like you're sending in your resume all over the place and you're finding that you're not getting as many calls. So how about this? Give me a number. How many applications do you send out before you get a call for an interview? Like, is it 20 applications, you get 1 call? Is it 10? Is it 5? Is it 100? Like, give me some statistics here because I'm really curious. Sungwen Kim says, so is it going to be like a group teaching regarding resume? Actually, no. This is going to be a course where you're going to be learning it thoroughly on your own. So it's a self-taught thing, but there will be a group where you'll be able to ask Q&As. But let's just talk about that later because I know you guys are here to learn about what I have to share about the resume. But tell me if, okay, so JCB says more like 100. Christopher says so far about 40. Eduardo says 20, 15 to 20, 10, 15-ish, 50, 20. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, if you're in the 10 and below, then that's a pretty good ratio. If you're sending 10 resumes and you get 1 interview call, that's not too bad. But if it's anything higher than that, you definitely want to get that ratio to be looking a bit nicer, because you don't want to be sending out 30 resumes and only get 2 calls for interviews. That's a lot of resumes to be sending. That's a lot of time. So if you have a really strong resume, you can send it out to a handful of jobs and get a good number of interview calls back. And of course, this whole job search, you always know it's about the numbers. It's about how many opportunities that you can land in terms of interviews, and then that increases your chances of getting a job offer. So okay, so let's get right into it. Okay, what I want to do in this training is I'm going to give you my tips and tricks on how to go through some sample resumes that I have that I've prepared, and I want you to be able to understand what are the good and bad things that are coming out of these resumes. So like I said, truth is, it's not a lot of time that we have, so I'm going to try to go through it efficiently with you guys, but I'll explain the course as we go along as well, and how it's going to help you later on when it comes to writing your own resume. Okay, does that sound good? So you guys are still giving me your ratios here, 4 or 5. That's not bad. If it's 4 or 5, then that's really good if you're getting called for 4 or 5, but it depends on how many jobs in total you're applying for. So if you're saying you've applied to only 4 or 5 in total and you've gotten 1 or 2 interview calls, let's say, out of that, then I'd say just increase that number, and hopefully you'll get your job offer out of that. All right, so let's move on. By the way, I also wanted to say that you guys can download the PDF for these resume samples underneath here, which is no, wrong one, right there. So it's lindarayner.com/samples. So what I'm going to do right now is I just pulled up the PDF document. So if you want to grab it for yourself, feel free to just go to lindarayner.com/samples, and you have to subscribe because that's the way that it'll send to your inbox. And once you get that, then you can also open it up and follow along. Otherwise, you can follow it on the screen here. Are you guys okay with what I've just showed you? Like, is this clear enough? You guys can see this? I know that it's a little bit small, and you guys might have to if you're watching on your phone, you're going to have to turn your phone a little bit. Or if you're watching on your laptop, I think it should be clear enough. But I'll read it to you out loud as we go along as well, so you don't have to worry too much. Tell me if you can't see it. If it's really bad, then I'll switch it up. But for now, I'm just going to walk you through this. Okay. So this, yeah, you guys can see it. Awesome. Okay, so this template here, just so you understand, basically I have several sample resumes in this. So the first one is sample resume number 1. There's no names, okay? I haven't listed people's names in these resumes. And what you also have to understand is these aren't real resumes. So if you're thinking that this was a real person, they're not. I've heavily modified them. They are based off of real resumes that I've received from people, from clients and things, but they're not real. So don't worry. Okay, so the first thing that you see right now when you look at this resume, pretend that there's a name at the top, okay? And the name is there. Now we've scrolled down, and the first thing that we see, it says experience. So let me ask you guys this. We're going to make it very interactive. We're going to make sure that you guys feel involved as I'm teaching you this. But what do you think is the first issue with this resume? What's missing? Besides the name, don't worry about the name, but what's missing? Because you're seeing that it goes right into experience. It goes right into experience. And so there has to be something that's before that, if any of you know. Okay, if you guys have followed me before, you guys know that I tell you to include something. What do you guys think is missing? Please do a live session on situational job interview questions next time. Oh, Rose, you missed it. It was in my Facebook group, the Ambitious Professionals Mastermind. But you can still join it, and the live training is still in there for you to replay and watch. So if you want to learn about situational job interviews, head on over to the Facebook group, okay? All right, so somebody says summary, no career summary, probably a summary, objective. All right. Profile summary. Okay, good guys. You guys, good. So that's absolutely right. You got this resume here is missing the profile. Now, in my Top Notch Resume course, in the part where I teach the strategy on how to make a sentence compelling, I make sure that, what you have to understand is that in the resume itself, there's always key sections that go into the resume. So there's the first chunk, which is the profile. Then what comes next is this part, which is the professional experience. And then after that is education. Those are the key 3 sections that you're going to learn in the course, but in detail, you're going to learn how to write each of the phrases. But what they're already missing right off the bat is the profile. And why is the profile important? The profile is important because it actually is the first thing that the recruiter's eyes looks at. So it's the first thing that the hiring manager sees. And if in that first few bullet points they don't see how you're a fit for the position, they're not really going to keep looking. Now, in this case, they don't have a profile at all. So this person is doing him or herself a disservice by not putting a profile, because if you put a profile, what it does psychologically is it kind of sets the hiring manager up for who you are, what you've done, what you're capable of. Like, you're framing them to think about you to be seen as the right candidate for them. I hope that makes sense. So essentially, you're framing them, you're feeding them, this is who I am. This is what you need to know about me. This is what I'm capable of doing. This is what my experience is what my background is. This is my professional background. And then from there, if they read it and they go, wow, yes, this person is the right fit for the job that I want to hire for, then they'll keep reading the rest of your experience. And as long as that lines up with what you've already written in your profile, there's a great chance that you're going to get a call for an interview. But without a profile, you're not framing them to know who you are and to really consider the type of candidate that you are. So profile is definitely what's missing. Okay, so what I was saying before, which you probably noticed, I kind of like went back and forth. What I was saying before is that in my course, in this profile part, I actually break it down bullet by bullet. There's 3 bullets that you should be doing for the profile, and each bullet has a very specific purpose. Now, overall, what I'm really trying to say is that in the profile, it really has to be a snapshot of your professional background, your experience, your technical skill set, and it really has to demonstrate to them in a compelling way. It's the way that it's written that's most important. It has to be written in a really compelling way so that the hiring manager goes, yep, she or he is the right fit for the position. So that is what is missing in this case. Now, when we scroll down and we look at the experience, let's look at this a little bit, okay? When you read these bullets here, ran analysis for inventory accounting report on a monthly basis, identify and implement process improvement to create procedures, blah, 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 all this stuff. How do you guys feel when you read it? Does it feel compelling? Does it feel like this person is a superstar? Read it and tell me, does this person sound like a truly top-notch candidate? Do they come across as a superstar? Because the reality is, if you want your resume to be seen and noticed by these companies, by these hiring managers, you have to know how to present yourself as a superstar on paper. That's the truth. So tell me what you think about the job description in terms of how they've written their points. Ran analysis for inventory accounting on a monthly basis. Whoop-de-doo, not that exciting. Identify and implement process improvement to create procedures. I don't even know if that makes sense. Maintain accuracy of finished goods inventory and raw materials inventory. Okay, great. Vague, says Carrie. Sounds dry, sounds plain. Yeah, I agree, doesn't it? Who here kind of has a resume that you may not want to admit it, but kind of resembles this a little bit, that it's just very to the point. This is what I do. Here you go. No color, no flavor, no flair, nothing unique about it. If anybody kind of has some insight or is willing to share and say that, yeah, it actually kind of looks like my resume, let me know, because I'm curious. Too general, should be in the past tense, no quantifiable results, doesn't really say anything about what he or she achieved. Yep, you guys are right. You guys are already ahead of me. So let's talk about this, okay? The first bullet point, it says ran analysis for inventory accounting report on a monthly basis. Okay, sure, I get it. I get what you did, but you could have made it this person. Okay, let's just name them Jane. Jane could have made this much more colorful. So, an example of what she could have written was performed in depth analysis of inventory costing, valuations, obsolescence, and slow moving items, and identified significant anomalies in a monthly report for review by management. So, it's saying the essence, it's saying the same thing that they performed inventory accounting and they prepared a report on a monthly basis, but you're giving a lot more flair to it. Okay, and then in my top notch resume course, this is what I teach is really how do you break it down and how do you add that flair? How do you write it in a way that sounds a lot more compelling? So what I said could have been maybe a little bit too extra, like it could have been a little bit overwhelming. But to be honest with you, the point here, when somebody's looking at your resume, they're scanning it. They take 6 seconds to look at your resume. So what they're really looking for are those key areas, those key items that you've put down on your resume that line up to the job that they're hiring for. Okay, you've probably heard me say this multiple times in different instances, but that's really what it is. So if this person wrote it a little bit differently, added a little bit more unique details, made it a well written, well rounded, full on sentence, then it would have just been that much more compelling. Do you guys agree? Do you guys agree? Accounting is not exciting. Accounting is accounting. How can one dress up something like this? Well, see, I disagree. So, like I said, this person could have said, performed in depth analysis of inventory, costing, valuations, obsolescence, and slow moving items, and identified significant anomalies in a monthly report for review by management. Doesn't that sound a little bit more exciting to you? Darren says, wow, that was great. Keywords, exactly. Yes. Okay, so what you really have to understand is that this is all about incorporating the keywords and really making sure that your sentences are fully well written and that they incorporate not just the keywords, but also the purpose as to why you do that job duty. Okay, so in this case, they did it in a monthly report for review by management. That was the purpose of doing this inventory accounting report, but they could have said it for other reasons. So this is just the gist of it, but this is something that you really would need to understand is that if you're writing your job descriptions, you're writing your job duties on your resume, you want to ask yourself, is it dry? Is it boring? Is it bland? How can I spice it up a little bit more? How can I make the messaging feel a little bit more compelling? How can I make it more well written, more well rounded, that is, and then start to incorporate that. Okay, so hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. And like I said, in my Top Notch Resume course, which is going to come out in a few weeks, this is exactly what we do. We talk about it line by line. I'm going to be walking through exactly how to write a phrase that is compelling, that's well rounded, that really incorporates everything that you need to make sure that. See, the thing is that you can make it really compelling and spicy and crazy, but then that's what it ends up becoming is kind of crazy. It's a little bit too overwhelming and it may not make sense. So you have to be able to do it in a really concise way, and it's really about the communication of it. So we'll talk about that in a few weeks when I launch the course, and you'll learn more about that there. So let's look at one final thing on this particular resume. I have several more to show you. So somebody had already said it before. Oh, let me see. Is it okay if the bullet point runs 2 lines long? Says Christopher. Yes, it's okay if the bullet point runs 2 lines long. It just has to be, there has to be good reason for it. But yes, absolutely. Should we put a number? I'm not really sure what you mean by that in terms of number. Yes, we should. Totally, we should always be selling ourselves. Excellent, Stan. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let me tell you one other thing that I'm noticing about this resume that I didn't make a note about. There's only 3 bullet points for a job that she held since last year. And then 2012, 2016, there's only 2 bullet points. That's not really great. You know, if you've worked at a job for 4 years, you need to have more than 2 bullet points to talk about. Right? And even her other job, 2009 to 2012, I think it's only 2 bullet points too. Not enough. Okay, so you guys really want to have a good full number of bullets. But that's an aside. So the other thing I want to talk about, besides the job duties being written in a compelling way, What else do you guys think is missing? And I think you guys already alluded to this before, and it was achievements. Okay, so you can see that all she does here is she just talks about her job duties. That's it. Just, I did this, I did this, I did this, but she doesn't talk about her achievements, and that is something that is key. I find that a lot of people don't put achievements down. And when they do that, again, they're doing themselves a disservice, because if you really want to stand apart from the other candidates in your job search, when your resume is being compared to the other candidates, achievements is what's going to help you to stand apart from everyone else. So, achievements. What is an achievement? Who can tell me what an achievement is? Should we put a number to make it quantitative? Okay, so that's what you're saying. Should we put a number to make it quantitative? Well, in achievements, it's actually, achievement is something that you're able to do that was above and beyond. It resulted in some sort of improvement for the company. So it could have been that you saved the company money. So that is quantitative, if you can remember how much money you saved them, or a percentage, or time, if you can remember how much time you saved them for something that you were able to do. So you have to think really creatively and ask yourself, what did I do in this job that allowed me to create a quantifiable result? Those are the best achievements. Now, of course, there's all kinds of different achievements. You know, if you're recognized for being a top performer, that's an achievement, or something along those lines. But always thinking about, what did I do that was a little bit outside of the box and resulted in something, you definitely want to include that. So someone said, Lisa says, can you do one other than accounting? Yeah, I have other examples, so don't worry, don't freak out. See, this is the issue. A lot of people are, and this is what you're going to have to understand in the course as well, is that the examples that I'm going to share with you, it doesn't matter what job they are. Like, I've helped people in engineering, and I know nothing about engineering. One of my clients, she was a corrosion engineer. She couldn't find a job for 8 months, and she came to me. We worked together. We revamped her resume using this approach, the top-notch resume approach, and within a couple months, she landed 2 job offers. And I knew nothing about engineering, but it didn't matter. It was all about the strategy. So you guys have to remember this, okay? Don't look at the details from that perspective. Look at, what is Linda actually telling me about the process? Understand the process, and then you will know how to apply it for yourself. Okay, and in the course, it's a lot clearer. Right now, it's just because I'm using an example, and I know you guys want something that's perfectly suited for you, but unfortunately, that's just not going to be the case for everybody. All right, so that is resume number 1. Okay, so let's recap. What are some of the things we noticed? We noticed, number 1, no profile. Needs to have a profile. Good, solid, well-written, compelling profile that gives them insight, gives the hiring manager insight on who this person is, what their professional background is, their technical experience, all that stuff. But not too long-winded. You don't want a full paragraph. Experience-wise, the bullet points are too short, too bland. Need to spice them up a bit. Need to be fully well-rounded. Incorporate keywords. Okay, and then the final thing we talked about was the achievements, and that there aren't any. So the one thing that they could be setting themselves apart would be through writing achievements, including them on their resume. So give me a thumbs up, or say yes, or say hallelujah, whatever, if this all makes sense to you guys. Okay, let me know if this all makes sense. How many pages long should a resume be? A resume, I would say, can be as short as 1 page, as long as 2. Anything longer than that is way too long. Okay, you want to be concise, because if you are going over 2 pages, the hiring manager, you know what they're thinking? They're thinking this person doesn't know how to be concise. And that is the key to writing an effective resume, is not only knowing how to word it properly and word it in a compelling way, but being concise as you word it that way. So Shiraz says, good stuff. All right. Okay. Some of your YouTube IDs, I don't know what they are. I can't even read them, but thank you. Yes. Yes. Okay. Awesome. All right. On which part should we include achievements, says Mr. Astier. Okay. You should be including your achievements underneath the job responsibilities. So you see how, like, ran analysis, identify, maintain. Underneath maintain, put the word achievements. Underneath that, put a couple of bullet points, and those are going to be your achievements. So you want achievements related to each position, ideally. If you don't have it for every position, then at least have it for the most recent roles. All right, so let's move on to the next one, because we're already going over time. If you guys can hold on a sec, my computer is running out of battery, and I didn't realize that I didn't have it plugged in. So 1 second, bear with me here. Oh gosh. Okay, yeah, things are just falling over now. 1 second. Okay, good. I hope you guys can still see me. Yes, everything's good. Okay, so let's move on to the next resume. I know you guys are probably curious. Let's see. Resume number 2. So like I said, if you guys want to take a closer look at these resumes, feel free to just download them at the lindarayners.com/samples, and you'll have your own PDF copy version. But truthfully, if you don't follow along in this training, you're not going to really know what to do with those resume samples. Like it's just, that's all it is. So let's move on to this one. So when you guys read this resume, you see that they actually have a summary, which is great. But by looking at this summary, do you guys feel that you have a clear picture of this person's skill sets, abilities, experiences, and technical skills? Tell me if you feel that you know who they are and what they're capable of and what they can do. Tell me if tell me if it sounds vague, and that if it sounds specific enough for you. Because if it's vague, which I believe it is, then it gets you on the iffy list for these hiring managers. They're going to feel that, it's just fluffy. You guys feel that it's fluffy too? Ponka says, doing great. This is awesome. Rose says, fab advice. Awesome. Shiraz says, summary is vague. It's vague, right? You guys agree? So it says here, I'll read it out loud. Professional business development associate with 10 years of successful business development experience and a demonstrated track record of achievements and results. Excellent at fostering client relationships. So I can see that they're trying to sell themselves. I can see that, they're making an attempt to say, I've had some achievements and results, and I have business development experience. So you know that much. You know that they're in business development, but you don't know what industry. You don't know what their technical skills are related to that. And, what kinds of achievements and results are you talking about? So that's the thing here, is that we really want to get specific when we're doing our summary. And what this person has done is not specific enough. So I think you guys can see that. So if he wanted to fix this, he would need to describe it in more detail. He would need to describe his specific experiences, technical abilities, and background, and it needs to be written in a way that's not a full-on paragraph either. So he only has about a couple sentences here, which is fine. You only need 2 or 3 bullet points for the profile, but you need it to be really clear. You need the hiring manager to be able to read it and go, okay, I know exactly what this person's capable of, and that they can do the job. And so, like I described in my top-notch resume course, this is what I'm going to be working through, because just working through the profile alone takes quite a bit of time. You have to really know, what do I put in there that's going to stand out for this hiring manager? And the thing there is that it's going to change depending on the job that you apply to. It's going to change depending on the company that you want to work for. Like, it all changes. Even if the job title is similar across the board, it changes depending on the organization, because each organization has their own set of requirements for what they really want. And some people emphasize certain things over others. So that's something that you have to recognize, is that the summary really needs to be clear and concise. And now tell me this as well. So something else. Not only do they have a summary, but you also see that they have a targeted job title. His targeted job title, let's just call this guy Sam. Sam says that he is looking for a business development manager position. And he also has qualifications that he's written there. Work well under pressure in various environments, excellent oral and written communication skills, skilled in Microsoft Word, yada, yada, yada. Now tell me this. I'm curious to ask you guys, who here has a targeted job title or objective in their resume? Who can say that they're still doing that? And I don't want to, make you stand out and make you feel bad or anything. But the truth here is that if you still have it, I would say get rid of it. Because the reason why is because if you can write a profile that is so compelling and effective, then they'll know what job you're applicable for. They'll know what job you're meant to do. You don't have to tell them. It's, to be honest, I personally feel that the objective or the targeted job title is a little bit juvenile, because that's the kind of thing that we learned when we were back in high school on how to write resumes. And with that, back then we had no experience in high school, and maybe you were looking for like a retail job, so maybe you'd put objective retail job. That makes sense because you have no experience. But in this case, I'm assuming you guys are professionals and you have some experience, even if you think that it's not enough. Definitely you want to get rid of the targeted job title. Okay. Titles are different in every job. Exactly, Stan. Titles are different in every job, so you don't really want to be including them. Qualifications as well. One thing, what can you tell me that you're noticing about these qualifications? Um, I want to know. So you see here, work well under pressure in various environments. Okay. Excellent oral and written communication skills. Okay. You want to know why I don't really like this? I'm curious if anybody knows, but I'll just outright tell you. The reason why I don't like this is I always say in your resume, avoid soft skills. You probably don't hear that often. You probably hear other resume people say, yeah, put in as many soft skills as you can, presentation skills or communication skills, teamwork skills, team player, all organizational skills, time management. I don't want to make fun of those people, but truthfully, you're wasting a lot of space on your resume if you're putting in soft skills. If you're putting in soft skills, then the issue here is they'll find out if you have strong communication skills when you meet with them in the interview. You don't have to tell them that you have strong communication skills. They're not going to say, wow, I really want to bring this person in because he or she wrote that they have strong communication skills. However, if you wrote that you had a very specific type of technical experience in a certain area, if it was engineering and you had a specific type of corrosion engineering and the job happens to be looking for that and you put that on your resume, that is what's going to get you an interview. Okay, so let's just be very clear on what's going to lead you into getting an interview over what's not. And if you only have a limited amount of space, which like I said before is maximum 2 pages on your resume, then stick to the technical and get rid of the communication, get rid of the soft skills. Okay. I prefer to show as opposed to telling. Yes, exactly. Show as opposed to telling. The resume has to show skills which others probably don't have. Absolutely. Does it help to go and check on your application in person? Please comment if possible. I'm not so sure what you mean by does it help to go check on your application in person, but if you're saying to go into the office and say, hey, did you guys see my application? Then no, it's not a good thing. Don't do that. That's not an okay thing to do. Wait for them to call you, and if they haven't called you, it's probably because they either didn't find your resume in the system because you plus 500 other people have applied, or it didn't stand out enough to them. Okay. And by the way, talking about how to stand out in front of hiring managers, getting them to invite you to interviews is also something that I'm going to be talking about in my Top Notch Resume course. That's a bonus. I'll explain that all later on in the next few weeks, but it's really important that you realize that applying online is not enough. It is not enough to just send your resume and pray and hope that online is the only way. It could work, and it has worked for people, but I can tell you that with my clients, the ones that have landed job offers have been able to do that using the job search strategy techniques that I teach and that I'll be sharing with you guys in the course. So just another heads up for that. All right, so overall, qualifications, targeted job title, there's a lot of things that could be missing. Somebody said Lotus Notes is out of use. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, sorry. I don't know why it's in there, but this person's resume probably is just because it's really old. It had it in there. So whatever, who cares? It could have been Outlook. Let's just pretend it says Outlook. Okay, so let's look here. Employment history. So, like I said, these are all fake resumes, okay? It's not a real resume, but they are based on real resumes in terms of the formatting. So here you'll see that they do have some job duties as well, but now I want to ask you guys, what what do you sense when you're reading these particular job duties? Okay? What can you tell me about the way his duties are written? This person's, Sam's duties are written. So he says here, met and exceeded assigned goals for revenue and customer satisfaction. Improved year over year sales per customer by 80%. 2016 versus 2015. Maintained consistent close rate 2016 versus 2015 despite 50% decrease in traffic. I mean, I don't even think these stats I completely changed. So I don't know if they make sense, but it's there. They improved year over year sales per customer 80%, maintained a close rate. What can you tell me about these particular these job duties? I'm just seeing if, hello, anybody out there? I'm seeing if my um, comments are working because I'm not seeing any come through. Well, anyways, for now, what I'll tell you is that for these particular job duties, all I see are a bunch of numeric facts. Okay, they don't give me much context. Okay, Arena, there we go. I think the person should write how they met those goals. Exactly. Somebody says boring. Okay. Yeah, I mean, all they're saying is, I did this. I did this. It's kind of similar to that initial resume where they listed just the facts of what they did, and they're not giving any context as to how they did it. They're not really giving any context on top of that as to what they do on a regular basis. This person is literally just saying, I'm amazing, and these are all the things that I've been able to do just from a numbers perspective, but that's not enough. So you know how I love to tell you guys to quantify as much as possible, and this person definitely has quantified, but they haven't done anything else. You need to have the qualitative and the quantitative in there. What else are job duties are missing? Darren, yes, correct. Job duties are missing. They're not listing their day-to-day duties. What I can tell you is this, is that when a hiring manager is looking at your resume, they're looking for achievements, absolutely, but they are also looking to see that you are doing the daily tasks that this role is required. So if you don't list them, nobody has a real clue as to what you actually do. They understand that you're in some sort of sales for this job, clearly, but they don't really understand much else. They don't understand in what context, what situation, what types of clients, what industry really. They're not really getting a full clear sense of that. And then they also don't understand what daily tasks you do. So absolutely, this resume needs to be improved on. So what they'll need to do is include some job duties, and then they need to rework these achievements to make sure that they're more well-rounded and they tell the story of what they did and how they achieved it. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up if you guys agree. I'm an accountant. I love numbers. That's good. What if I don't have any experience, so you need job duties and achievements? Yes, you need job duties and achievements. You have to have both. Like I said before, responsibilities, achievements, and then achievements underneath. Amy, your phone interview video was right on time. Watched it and used your advice and got a second interview. Awesome. Good. Lisa says, no, that is not good. I don't know what you mean, Lisa. In what context? But anyways, that's how we would do it. Okay, so just understand that you need to have achievements and responsibilities. Now let's keep looking at this resume, see if there's anything else we can point out about this individual's resume. Wendy, very nice. Piano Fanatic, agree. Mohit, agree. Awesome, guys. Okay, look here. Look here. They do have achievements. Employee of the Year 2015. So who can tell me what the issue is when they put the achievements like that on the second page? And if the person wasn't so impressed with what they saw on the first page, do you really think that they're going to flip over onto the second page? Right? You guys probably can figure that out, that the way that they've written these achievements, they put them on the second page. And yes, it's amazing that you're Employee of the Year. Maybe elaborate a little bit. For what? Why were you Employee of the Year? What did you do? Or what were you recognized for? It's always good to really give as much detail as you can, but of course not in a crazy in-depth, overly detailed way, just giving them an idea of the context of why you got that achievement. So they should have put that achievement underneath their responsibilities. So, how about people with few significant achievements? I can tell you that this is the thing. A lot of my clients, they're very humble. They're very good at what they do, but they're very humble and they say, I don't really have any achievements. There's nothing I can think of. No, I haven't done anything. And I can tell you that absolutely you have achievements. You just have to think a little bit more creatively. You have to ask yourself, was there something that I did throughout my whole time working there where I improved something? Maybe you were employee of the year, but maybe you helped to save an hour of work for somebody else because you figured out a new way to do something. Maybe you automated a manual process that used to be done and took a lot of time. Think of it that way. Okay, ask yourself, what have I done that has allowed me to improve something in some way? And if you haven't done that and you're working right now, go and try to figure out what that thing is that you could be doing now so that you have it for your resume for when you're looking for your next job. All right. So you don't know what job the achievements apply to, Arena says. Yeah, exactly. You don't know. It's redundant. You don't know what the achievements apply to. Excellent. That's right. So these are the issues here. So this resume needs to be revamped, and this particular client actually has a brand new, completely revamped resume, and he's been getting interviews with it, which is amazing. But his old resume, he sent 100. So I'll tell you this resume, he sent 100 resumes, he told me, and he only got one interview, and that one interview wasn't even a real job or something. But anyways, moving on. Let's do one more bad resume. I don't want to call it bad, but just, needs improvement, needs work. When they categorize you and they say, you're like in the last category, but you still aren't considered bad. It's just, needs development, or I forget what that phrase is. Okay, let's look. Okay. Oops, went too far. So as you can see, the resumes do get a little bit better as you go on and on. So this third one says here at the top, it says customer specialist. And the professional summary says result-driven, customer-oriented, versatile, and energetic individual with years of wide-range career experience as an employee. Well-organized and proactive individual with proven ability to improve processes by promoting best practice procedures and operational efficiencies. Whew, that's a mouthful. Can you see that there are a lot of adjectives in this professional summary? They are result-driven, they're customer-oriented, they're versatile, they're energetic. They're well organized, they're proactive. That's a lot of adjectives, and to be honest, it really says nothing. That's the truth. Because what do I always say? I always say, go technical. Don't start telling me all your soft skills or your personality traits and things in your resume. That's not what's going to get you the interview. What's going to get you the interview is your technical ability. And right now, right here, I do not see any technical ability. None, really. I mean, okay, fine, you've been able to improve processes and operational efficiencies. Yeah, sure, okay, great, but that's still very vague. I don't get it. So I can see that from this professional summary, I have no idea what this person really does. And so what you have to realize is that your professional summary needs to be clear, needs to be concise, needs to be direct, needs to talk to the technical background, your professional background, and what you're capable of doing. In my Top Notch Resume course, which is coming out in a few weeks, you're going to learn exactly how to write a compelling profile, a compelling summary. And it's, like I said, not just one bullet point, but it's going to be multiple bullet points. And so you have to have compelling bullet points that are going to tell the story of who you are, because that's going to set the tone. Once you have that, then everything else flows. But even that, there's a whole way to write your job duties. So let's just go through this a little bit more quickly. So professional summary, core competencies and skills. Okay, so you can see here that this person has tried to incorporate some keywords, but again, keywords are all about time management, leadership skills, organization skills. They do say technical skills, but they're actually not talking about what technical skills. We have to know, what kind of job do you want, Mrs. or Mr. that wrote this resume? Analytical thinker, communication. I would scrap all of that. Those aren't things I'd be putting on the resume. Now they talk about technical skills. Okay, so let's see here. Turning broad conceptual ideas into highly creative visual websites, comprehensive knowledge of Windows XP, Mac, okay, blah, blah, blah. So, okay, so they did say their technical skills in terms of their software, IT skills. And then turning broad conceptual ideas into highly creative visual websites. All right, sure. Now at the top though, if I recall, it says that they're a customer specialist. So that's a bit confusing. Like, are you a website person or are you a customer specialist? I don't get it. And see, things aren't matching up here. And the reason why I pointed that out right away was because this person actually was not an IT person, but they happened to put that on their resume. Just because they can turn things into websites, that they can create websites, that they decided that they would put that on their resume, even though it had no relevance for the job that they were applying to. So make sure you don't do that. All right. Let's see what people are saying. Piano Fanatic says, I don't know if you went over this, but is it better to have a summary or profile statement or an objective statement? It's way better and recommended that you have a profile, okay, not an objective. Okay, don't put objective because that's a little bit juvenile. Jodian Williams says, they sound like they're screaming, I'm a good one, just hire me. Yes, exactly. Even though they're not so great, right? What does computer mean? Exactly. I don't know what computer means. They put it on there. Who knows? All right. So let's move on from there. Let's see here. Selected achievements. Attended web development classes. Oh, that's not an achievement if you've attended classes. Okay. Remember what I said about achievements. Something that you did that helped to result in making an improvement somewhere, and hopefully it's quantifiable. So that's not an achievement. And also they put it in the wrong spot. Shouldn't be up there. Should be underneath the appropriate position that they've worked at. So let's look at their work experience. So, okay, so yeah, there's only a couple bullet points. But even still, I think you guys are getting the idea, right? Look at this. Managed and maintain multiple applications on a daily basis. Provided comprehensive information to individuals over the phone. Great. So you're just listing what you've done in a very vague way, and it's not giving me any detail. I don't understand the context to how you did this. I don't really have any unique details that I can look at and understand the entire context, and there's really no purpose behind what you're doing. So manage and maintain multiple applications. Okay, what is the purpose behind that? Why? For what? To improve what or to ensure what? So those are components that are missing out of this job description for this individual. Any suggestions that you guys have on what they can do? Maybe somebody has an idea of how this person can write it a little bit better, make it a little bit more spicy. If you guys do, feel free to put it in the comments. Lisa, your negotiate video is excellent. It got me more money on a new job, I'm assuming. Awesome. Cool. I'm glad. I have a Linux system administrator certification, but I don't have job experience. What should I put? If you have it, you can put it as long as that's the type of job that you're wanting to achieve. Okay, so you can put it if you're wanting to find a job that is looking for somebody with that particular background. And in my top-notch resume course, I do talk to people who have certain types of, let's say, background in terms of education, but they don't necessarily have the right experience. We talk about how you can incorporate that into your resume so that the hiring manager can tell that even though you don't have the experience, you have the background knowledge and the ability to do the job. So I teach you how to write it and how to message that in your resume. So you'll be able to learn that in a few weeks. Yes, this resume is all over the place. Absolutely. It's just kind of all over the place. You're right. All right, let's see. Anything else that we can see here? I don't want to take too much more of you guys' time, but let's see. Education, HTML school. Okay, yeah, and interests. Okay, one thing to say about interests, guys, is I know that we all have interests. We all have things that we like to do. And sometimes it's beneficial to put interest because, sometimes hiring managers will read it and they might create conversation out of it. I've seen it happen before. So I'm not saying no to interest, but ask yourself, in terms of my experience and my background and my ability to do the job, what's more important, that I talk about my interests or that I'm talking about my ability to do the job and that I'm demonstrating to them that I'm the right fit for their company? Focus more on those things. Interest is like an aside, a bonus, an add-on if you want to do it, but it's not that important. So if you didn't have it, trust me, it's not a deal breaker. All right, so those are 3 not so great resumes. So how did you guys like that? I'm going to show you a good resume now, but how did you guys like that? Give me a yes or a thumbs up if you guys are all following along and you are enjoying this so far, if it's making sense. Like I told you, unfortunately, I can't walk through and say, let me rewrite a whole resume for you from start to finish. That's just impossible given the time that we have and given the setting that we're in. It's just not going to work, and I don't have anything prepared for you guys to do that right now. But if you take my course, which is coming up in the next few weeks, called Top Notch Resume, you are going to learn, by the end of the course, you're going to be able to write your whole resume just following the steps that I give you, because I make it very, very tactical. I make it very hands-on, and I tell you to pause the video at certain times so that you can do the specific thing, write the specific phrase, or write the specific set of bullets using my strategy. So it's going to be super, super easy for you guys to follow along with that. I know that it's a little bit more theoretical here, but as long as you understand what I'm getting at, then you know that by the time you're ready to write the resume, you'll be able to follow along really easily, because now you have the foundational understanding of it. So yeah, yes, thumbs up. Awesome. Good. Awesome. Danny says, do you have to have a profile in the resume? And I say yes, absolutely. Have a profile in the resume, because like I told you before, the profile sets you up. It forces the hiring manager to look at you in the way that you want them to look at you. You're basically saying to them, this is who I am. This is what I'm capable of. This is what I can do for you. This is my background. And from reading that, it's like tunnel vision. They go, okay, that's what they're telling me they are, so I'm going to go with that. Versus forcing them to kind of guess and look and read at your resume and kind of make their own assumptions. You don't want them to do that, because if they start making the wrong assumptions about what you're capable of, like you've probably seen in all these other resumes, these are all good candidates, by the way. The people that I've showed you, they all good candidates, like good performers. They just don't have good resumes. And that's the sad part, is that if you're really good at what you do, but you don't know how to write it, you don't know how to communicate it, you're not going to get the jobs that you want. So you really have to understand the value of a strong resume, because that is really the first thing that employers see before they even see your face, meet with you, talk to you, and it is your marketing tool. So if you have a good resume, you will have a greater chance of getting the job that you want, which is why I'm creating this resume course, because I think it's so important and I want to share my knowledge with you guys, and I want to do it in a very clear way so that you guys fully understand what I'm talking about, and that's why I'm making this course. So you'll see the course in a couple weeks. Okay. Johnny says yes. What if they're already asking for a cover letter alongside your resume? If they're asking for a cover letter, then you're going to have to give them a cover letter. Okay. I do not have too much experience in a job because I was with kids all the time. What should I put? So Edith, this is something that I talk about in the course, but as a quick thing, I want you to ask yourself, what have I done during this time while I was raising kids? Have I volunteered anywhere? Did I contribute in some way in terms of work, whether it was to a family business or some cause, some organization? Did I help to organize anything? You need to think about those types of things. If it's only been that you've only worked, then that's fine. Just pick up from where you left off. So really do a good job on the work experience that you had previously. And then in your resume, you'd probably put something along the lines of stay-at-home mom, something like that. But I'll explain that further in the course as to how that should be written. But good question. Lisa says, yes, you have to sell your experience. Winland says, very helpful advice. When is it okay or not okay to mention housewife? So I know you guys are asking me a lot of these questions. I'm glad you are. I'm really going to take note of that. And I don't have the answer for everything right now, but I will be incorporating that into the course. So I'm going to be thinking about that hard now that you guys are bringing it all up. So all the housewives out there, the stay-at-home moms, don't worry, I got you covered. I'm going to figure out a way to answer your questions in my course. And by the way, if you guys haven't joined, before I go into the top-notch example of a resume, if you haven't joined already, I would love it if you guys all joined me in my Ambitious Professionals Mastermind Facebook group. Okay. Right now we have over 1,200 members in that Facebook group. And right now, what's been happening is I've already started to share live trainings in that as well. And in that group, I did a behavioral situational interview training session. So you guys can go in there and watch that if that's something that you're curious about. But otherwise, there's 1,200 professionals in there. They're all supporting each other. Everyone is super helpful. People ask questions, people answer, and there's just so much support and really positive energy. And I think when you're looking for a job, what you really need alongside a good resume, alongside good interview skills, alongside your own self-confidence, you need some sort of acknowledgement that you're not the only one in this situation. I know it's hard when you're looking for a position and you're struggling and you're not finding the job that you want. So join this group, and you'll be with other people, and you'll see other people have had successes just by watching my YouTube videos. They've been able to land jobs, and they share their stories, they share their tips on how they were able to do it. And so it's just a really positive place. Definitely join the Ambitious Professionals Facebook group. You just go to Facebook, look up the Ambitious Professionals Mastermind, you'll find it, and click to join, and you'll be good to go. Okay, so just as an aside, just wanted to mention that. All right, let's get into the top-notch resume example. I know you guys are probably eager, and all right, so I'm sorry for those that didn't want to see an accounting example. I'm just showing you this because this person, I've changed her resume a bit because it's not the exact title and all that, but this person got a job. She got a job 2 weeks ago. She wanted to move from somewhere in the Midwest. She wanted to move to California. I helped her to revamp the resume using my top-notch resume approach, which you guys are going to have access to in a few weeks. And she landed a job. She is so excited, and she's moving to California as we speak. Like, she's in the process of selling her house. Her husband's moving out there with her, all this stuff. It was a dream of hers to want to move back out to California, and now she's doing it, and it's in a job in location that she wants. It's the job that she wanted. And for 6 months before that, she did not have a job. Sorry, not that she didn't have a job. She had a job, but she was not getting any interviews. That was what it was. And after this, using this type of resume, she was able to get interviews. So I just want to show you what it looks like. What I said to you guys. Profile. You need to have a strong profile. You need to be indicating who you are, what you've done, your experience, and the background that you have. And on top of that, you also need to include some snippets of your technical experience. So this is actually not even a fully complete profile. There is more that you can put, which I talk about in the course, but I just showed you snippets. So as you can see here, she wrote CPA and MBA certified senior manager of financial analytics and data management with strong experience in budgeting for financial analysis, key metrics, and leading implementation of process improvements within the fintech industry. Doesn't that sound amazing and impressive to you guys? This is what you want to emulate, okay? And by the way, if you guys want to just use this and not learn from the course, that's okay too. If you guys just want to try to figure it out on your own, then go ahead. But I can tell you that beyond just having a good resume, it's also about how you approach your job search. And she used my job search strategy to land her the job. It wasn't that she applied online. And that's something that I also will be talking about in the course. So just a lot of things that you're going to learn that I think is going to be so useful for you guys in your career and for this next position that you want to take on. So here's an example of a good profile. Okay. What do you guys think about this profile? Do you think it's great? Give me a thumbs up if you think it's great, if you think it's impressive, even though you probably don't like accounting or analytics or financial analysis and you're not in that field. But just from reading it alone, if you were the hiring manager, would you not be a little bit impressed by their background? Let's see what people say here. So what happens when only my last job is related to the job I'm looking for? How can I put the job experiences? if your last job was related to the job that you're looking for, you are going to emphasize that job like crazy. Okay, you're going to write about it like crazy. You're going to spice it up, spruce it up, do everything that you can to make it amazing as you can possible. Um, Stan says, should you add one's technical blog link in your resume? That's really interesting. It depends on what industry you're in and if they're open to that. I know that there's probably certain industries like IT and whatnot that are, a little bit more open to that kind of thing. Marketing, maybe, I don't know. But for other industries that maybe a little bit more corporate, I'm not so sure that they would read it. If you sent them a link to your blog, I'm not so sure if they would, but it just depends on the industry. Someone says profile is a little short on bullets. Yeah, I told you it's not fully complete. There's more that you can include there, especially if you are someone who doesn't have a lot of experience. There's actually more that you can be writing on there. So that is something that you're going to learn in the Top Notch Resume course. If you have experience, I can tell you that it's a lot easier for you to be able to come up with things and put this resume together. If you don't have a lot of experience, that's when you really need to learn, how do I use the limited knowledge and experience that I have, and I express that onto my resume in a way that's going to make an employer say, I like her or I like him and I want to bring them in for an interview, right? So it's not fully complete, but trust me, this in itself does give a snapshot of the person, and you can tell that they're a strong candidate. All right, let's move on to the professional experience. I know you guys are probably curious to know what that is all about. So let's read it. It says, oversee the strategic planning, data analytics, performance metrics, tracking, and financial analysis for a business unit of 300 staff totaling 100 million at 8 locations. Wow, look at the context in this job duty that she's put down. She's 300 staff, 100 million, 8 locations. Those are unique details right there. And she tells you about the areas that she's covered in her role. So it's amazing. This first bullet point already, the person gives great context and detail as to what they've been responsible for. And they are, anybody that reads it goes, amazing. That's cool. So that's what I'm going to teach you. I'm going to teach you how to make an amazing and cool resume. Okay, guys? But here, this is something that, it is very applicable to you guys. Even if you're not in the same industry, you're not in the same type of work as her, you could also have a resume that's strong like this. Like I told you, in that Top Notch Resume course, you're going to write your resume from start to finish using my method, and I teach you line by line, okay? And this is what I had to do with this particular client as well, line by line, literally. What's the next one? She says, conduct quarterly financial variance analysis to identify major discrepancies between budget and actuals, investigate root causes, and implement corrective actions to achieve annual operating and strategic goals. Amazing, right? You understand that she conducts variance analysis, she identifies discrepancies between what and what, actuals and budget, and then what does she do with that and for what purpose? You see how it's so nicely laid out and written, and that's the formula that you're going to want to follow. Okay, so, and I break it down, like I said, in the course, word for word, kind of where do you put what and what do you include and where is it coming from? Is it coming from the top of your brain, like out of nowhere, the sky, that you put all these words down? Not necessarily, but it does involve a little bit of that, and I show you the thought process behind that, how to come up with the right way to describe your experiences, because I find that some people feel stuck as well when I ask them, okay, what did you do exactly? They'll just say the most basic thing, and that's why you see a lot of resumes just saying the most basic duties. They're not giving more than that, and so there's specific things that you have to be looking for when you're writing your job duty out and asking yourself so that you can include that. Okay, so I didn't include all the other duties because, like I said, this was a very specific resume. As you can tell, it's not very applicable to many jobs. It's a financial analytics, data analytics position. And on top of that, just due to confidentiality, I didn't want to make up my own ideal resume because truthfully, like making it up, I could make up anything and say this is an amazing resume, but I needed to show you guys real proof. This is a real resume. Okay, so what else here? Achievements: successfully developed an annual budget based on in-depth analysis of historic actuals and workload projections from related divisions, resulting in securing needed resources for the business unit while saving the organization over $2 million. Whoa, it is a mouthful, but if you read it carefully, you understand exactly what they did and you understand what it resulted in. So this is the key thing. If you can take that much and try to attempt it on your own, fantastic. Go ahead. But if you feel that you want to really see it how it's broken down word for word, and you know me, I give you the details. It's very easy to implement. You just have to understand there's a lot of thought process that comes into it, and so you have to be willing to kind of understand those concepts, then you'll be able to implement it really easily. All right, so that there, you guys, is the ideal sort of top-notch resume example that I want to show you alongside all the other ones that needed improvement. So tell me, how did you guys like that? People are saying it's good, good, great. Number 4 is good. I've learned so much from this channel since it started. I'm so glad that you've learned so much, and I'm so glad to be sharing this with you guys. I love teaching and helping as many people as I can. The purpose of what I do is to help you guys, professionals, to pursue the careers that you really want to do and that you're capable of doing. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of knowledge to understand, how do I sell myself? How do I write a really good resume? How do I impress the people that I want to work for? Understanding those concepts is going to play a key role in helping you to advance in your career. It's no longer about working hard. It's no longer about just studying and doing the work, putting your head down. No, there's a lot more that you have to do if you really want to succeed. The world of work is changing, okay? The world of work is changing. You have to know how to market yourself. Honestly, I'll give you my prediction. My prediction is that the world of work is changing so much so that people are going to become more free. There's going to be more freelancers out there, and companies are cutting back on jobs so much that it's forcing people to just understand, what is my talent? What is my value? What do I have to offer to an organization, to a company? And when you can understand that about yourself, you know how to sell yourself to them. It's when people are just like, I just want another job, and they're only thinking about the job and what they want to do and only about what other people want, versus asking themselves, what am I capable of? What am I really good at? And how do I line that up with what I know they want? So how do I make it a win-win for the both of us, for the company that I want to work for, but also for me, right? That's the important thing, is that it's not just about getting a job. It's about getting a job that you love. And if you want to get a job that you love, it is going to be a bit of a challenge if you don't know how to sell yourself. So that's what I do. Okay, so just a couple more things. Like I said before, I am opening up my Top Notch Resume course in December 2017. If you have not already signed up to my email list, which is through downloading the PDF that is right here, it's lindarainer.com/samples. Download it. You'll be on my email list, and you'll get notifications in the next few weeks as I announce upcoming updates about it. But also, if you join my Ambitious Professionals Facebook group, you will also be getting really nice updates about it as well. And also, I'll be doing a few more trainings and things like that, and Q&A sessions in the Facebook group as well. So I'm just here on YouTube to try to get you guys to join me in the Facebook group, because I love being able to post things and also see you post things and have that conversation back and forth. Here on YouTube, I can talk to you this way, but I don't really know who you are. Craig says, good points. Course should add the meat to the bones. Excellent. I'm glad that you're looking forward to it. Great. Perfecto. Thanks, Linda. You're the best. Aw, thanks. Frank says, I like the way that you explain. I'm glad that you like the way I explain. I'm definitely going to be giving you lots of details in this course, okay? And I'm going to try to address your questions. So in the next coming weeks, actually, if you join the group and you have specific questions that you want me to address in this course when I put it out there, definitely let me know. I'm going to have Q&A times, Q&A sessions and things. So join the Facebook group, you guys, and also download the resume samples if you haven't already, to get a bit of an idea of what is that? Oh yeah, getting a bit of idea of what I'm talking about in terms of resumes. And other than that, that's pretty much it. So that's really all I had to share, is go to the Facebook group, join Ambitious Professionals Facebook group, and secondly, just beware that there is a resume course, Top Notch Resume, that I'm going to be launching in the next few weeks, early December. All right, so somebody asked, is this session being recorded for subsequent download, please? It's going to be on YouTube, so you guys can rewatch it. Okay, you don't have to download it if you want to. Sure, go ahead. That's it. Thank you guys so much. I am so glad that you guys joined me here tonight. It's nighttime for me, and hopefully you got some value out of that. Just remember, top notch resume course in the next few weeks. Join my Facebook Ambitious Professionals Mastermind Facebook group so that I can talk with you some more in that group and have the Q&A live sessions with you and whatnot, and see what you guys are all worried about and struggling with so that I can try to help you as much as I can in my next few sessions. Thank you guys. Shraz, thank you. Fair, thank you. Ricky, I can't wait. Valerie, thank you. Edmund, thanks for this wonderful time. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you again. I don't want to take any more of your time, but I will see you over in the Facebook group. And if not, then hopefully you will be learning from my course in the next few weeks. And hopefully I'll hear some good stories after that. It's heading into the holidays. So just a warning, holiday season is a slow season. Okay, slow season for hiring. So as you approach the end of November and December, and I'm sure you guys already are aware of this, but hiring managers, they start thinking about vacation. They don't want to think about hiring anybody. But what does happen is January, as soon as January hits, it's a new year, it's a new budget, there are new opportunities in the company. People have new visions for themselves, so they start leaving the companies, things like that. So all of a sudden, all this change happens in the new year. So what you want to do is you want to prep yourself and be ready for January. Be ready for 2018. If you haven't found a job by then, that's okay. You're going to work on yourself. You're going to work on your resume. You're going to build your brand new resume. You're going to use my job search strategy techniques, which I'm going to teach you in the course, all of those things, and you're going to hit the ground running in January. Okay, guys? So I'm your coach. I'm going to help you through this as much as I can, as much as I possibly can spread myself, but I'm going to help you, and you just have to keep yourself posted on any updates that I have to share. So join me over in the Facebook group and download the PDF. Go on my email list, and you will get all my updates. All right, thank you guys so much. I'm going to say bye now, and I will talk to you soon somewhere else or on YouTube. I'll see you in my next video probably. All right, bye guys.